The economic contraction, elevated prices, and reduced income generating capacities strain households and corporates' balance sheets, while raising credit risk to financial institutions. However, effects of monetary policy easing since mid-2023 are expected to boost domestic demand and economic activity. With that, the pressure on balance sheets of households and firms is expected to gradually subside and ease the credit risk of financial institutions. Under the domestic debt optimization process, the government securities held by the banking sector was excluded. Then after DDO, market sentiments improved, Sri Lanka's long-term local currency ratings improved, and yields reduced, partially correcting interest rate imbalances. With the envisaged conclusion of EDR, further adjustments in the market rates and sentiments are expected. Financial markets, which witnessed extreme turbulence in 2022, demonstrated signs of stabilization from the beginning of 2023. The share market volatility gradually declined in 2023. ASPI and S&P SL20 index grew by 24.9% and 15.7% year to date. When come to government securities market, IMF EFF program approval, completion of DDO, reduction of inflation and inflation expectations, and monetary policy easing alleviated the strains in government securities market and eased yield to some extent. We saw yields adjusting downward. However, continued high yields on government securities could result in a downward rigidity in lending rates. Majority of T-bill issuance constituted of 91-day T-bills. Foreign exchange market remained less volatile, while the liquidity deficit in the domestic money market declined significantly. With the approval of the IMF EFF in March 2023, receipt of funds from ADB and World Bank, increased inflows through export receipts, conversions, worker remittances, positive momentum in tourist arrivals, and restrictions on importation, which were in effect, the rupee appreciated. However, rupee depreciation pressures surfaced during July to October, primarily due to forex demand required to facilitate the SLDB exchange under the DDO. Banking sector, which was affected by the recent economic crisis, showed signs of improvement by the third quarter of 2023. A gradual increase of banking soundness index from its lowest level was observed. Overall default risk of the banking sector remained high, while some stabilization of the risk was witnessed during Q3. Then there's another concern. So sovereign exposure of the banking sector increased to 8,612 billion and amounted to 43.4% of banking sector's total assets. State banks accounted for 61.6% of total sovereign exposure, mainly due to exposure of the two state-owned LCBs. Restructuring of SOEs and running them as commercially viable entities are essential for the stability of the SOEs as well as for the banking sector. Profit after tax of the banking sector significantly increased due to the decline in new impairment allocation by banks. The PAT of the banking sector increased by 68.7% year on year during the 9 months ended September. So credit to household and institution sector contracted, and NPL ratios of household and institution sectors were steadily increasing amidst constrained debt repayment capacities and reflecting the credit risk emanating from institutional sector to the financial institution. In September 2023, the central bank was designated as the macroprudential authority in Sri Lanka by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka Act number 16 of 2023. The Act has equipped the central bank with powers and a set of macroprudential tools which could be utilized to achieve its macroprudential objectives. The central bank has already made use of some macroprudential tools, and some of which were enhanced during the last year, while several other macroprudential tools have been developed to be used in the future.
Meanwhile, Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe addressed concerns pertaining to the possibility of the country moving out of the IMF program off the back of a political decision following elections next year.
අවුරුද්ද අමාරු අවුරුද්ද 2022. ඒකට මම හිතන ලැබුණා දෙනකොට මේ ඉදිරියට යන ස්ථායීතාවය තවදුරටත් ශක්තිමත් කිරීම තමයි මේක වැඩිපිළිවෙලින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. ස්පෙસિෆික් මේ ප්‍රතිපත්තියම කියන එක නෙවෙයි මේ දිශාවට යන්න ඕන කියන එක. කාලයට ගැළපෙන ආකාරයට ප්‍රතිපත්ති වෙනස් කර ගැනීම කොහොමත් ඊළඟ අවුරුදු 4 තුර මොන රජයාවත් ඒ ජාතන මුලන්වත් එක්ක කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකේ බාධාවක් නැහැ. නමුත් ඒකේ තියෙන්නේ වැඩසටහන සමග ඉදිරියට යන්න ඕන ජාත්‍යන්තර සහාය ලබා ගැනීමට. මේ පදනම මත තමයි අපිට ණය දීපු විදේශ රජයවල් සහ වාණිජ්‍ය වශයෙන් ණය දීපු ආයතන ඒ සහතිකය දෙන්න සහ ණය සහනය ලබා දෙන්නේ මේ වැඩපිළිවෙල ඉදිරියට යනවා කියන අන්ඩර්ස්ටෑන්ඩින් එක මත. ඒතර ඒකෙන් වෙනස් වුණොත් කවුරු හරි මේක එතනින් ඉවත් වෙනවා නම් වැඩසටහනක් තියෙනවනේ ඒ ණය සහනය ලබා ගන්න නැතුව මේක ආයි වෙනස් වුණොත් එතනින් එහාට අලුත් වැඩපිළිවෙලකින් කරගන්න පුළුවන් ක්‍රමයක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට විකල්ප මාර්ගයක්. ඉතින් ඒ විකල්ප මාර්ගය මොකද්ද කියන එක අපි මේ විකල්ප මාර්ග වලට ගිහිල්ලා නෑ මෙහෙම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ.